Hello, welcome everybody. Welcome. As you join us, if you want to go ahead and put in the chat where you're going to be studying next semester, we would love to see where everybody's heading. Um, cool. Some folks going to Italy, South Korea, Ireland, Vermont, London, France, Costa Rica. Wow, what a great mix. Sevilla, Brussels, South Korea, Nottingham, Netherlands, New Zealand, Brazil, Scotland, another one for Netherlands, Greece, Virginia, California, Turkey, Uruguay. Oh my God, wow, what a great mix. Somebody go to
Yeah,
Finland.
definitely.
This is awesome. Another person for California. Great. This is fantastic. Glad to see so many people here. If you've just joined, we're going to get started in just 1 second. As you join us, we would love if you would put in the chat where you're going to be studying abroad next semester. Cool. For Prague, South Korea, Barcelona, a few more folks going to South Korea, Vilnius in Lithuania, great. Vermont, San Diego, another person going to Nottingham, Trent, another going to South Korea. This is awesome. Lausanne, great. France, Spain, Washington. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Okay. Should we get it started, Amanda?
Yeah, I'm definitely ready to get it started. Well, first of all, thank you all so much for joining our first current student panel of the day. We're all very excited you're here, and I'm sure our panelists are very excited to speak about their experience as well. So we can go ahead and get it started. So first, I'll introduce myself. My name is Amanda Ewert, and I'm one of our ISEP Student Services officers, and I work with students going on program in the UK, Ireland, and Oceania. And before we get started with our student panelists, we're going to go over how to complete your ISEP acceptance package very briefly. So we'll go ahead and start with a poll. So, have you all completed your ISEP acceptance package? Yes or not yet? So we'll give you all a few seconds to answer that.
Cool. Looks like
Great.
about 65% of you have already completed your acceptance package, which is awesome. We're so excited to see that. 35% of you have not done it yet. So we're going to talk about how to do that really quickly.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll go over your ISEP acceptance package. We'll go ahead and do that now. So a little bit of information on completing your ISEP acceptance package. So your ISEP acceptance package is located in your ISEP dashboard in the ISEP acceptance package tab, which would be located on the left-hand side of your screen if you're looking in your ISEP portal. And you have 3 weeks from the time you receive your acceptance package to complete it. If you look at the photo we have over here on the right, you can see that there would either be a due date or completion date right next to the orange name of your program. And your ISEP acceptance package will mainly have 4 sections that you need to complete. You need to complete your student contract, your medical form, your program deposit or acceptance fee. This might vary differently if your home university does cover these fees, but we can go into that a little more. And you'll have to enroll in ISEP insurance as part of your ISEP acceptance package if you are an ISEP direct student. All right. So completing your ISEP acceptance package. So you'll see your program information here and part of the contract and student information section. So this will contain important information on program start and end dates, housing benefits, and meal benefits. If applicable, this is mainly for ISEP exchange programs that are included in your program. So please make sure to read all the information thoroughly and follow all directions you receive from your host university to make sure you can secure your housing and prepare for your arrival. So the second tab in the ISEP contract would be your contract of participation. This contains important information from your host university and from ISEP. So please review the ISEP conditions of placement very thoroughly, and you can always let your student services officer know if you have any questions. And in the third tab, there'll be a signature. So you'll want to electronically sign the contract to confirm you have read and accepted the terms outlined in your acceptance package. All right, so a little more information on completing your acceptance package. All students will have to complete a medical form. You can make sure to note any medical history and any medical needs that you require accommodation for on program in this medical form. So please answer it as thoroughly and honestly as possible. And for ISEP exchange students, you will have to pay your ISEP exchange acceptance fee. Your acceptance will only be processed once you complete your acceptance payment, which is located on the Invoices tab, which would be on the left-hand side of your ISEP portal. And again, there may be some universities that do cover this fee for students. So if you do have any questions, please let us know. And a little bit more information. So if you're an ISEP Direct student, you will have an ISEP Direct program deposit. Again, if applicable, your acceptance will only be processed once you complete your program deposit, which is again located in the Invoices tab. And you can see a photo here on the top right of what your Invoices tab looks like. And you'll also need to enroll in your ISEP Health and Safety program. So for ISEP Direct students, you need to enroll before you're considered accepted as part of your ISEP acceptance package. And for ISEP exchange students, you'll enroll and pay for your ISEP Health and Safety program after you're accepted. So you can do this after acceptance and up to 45 days prior to the start of your program. And again, on the bottom right, we do have a picture of that, how to enroll in your ISEP Health and Safety program. So we'll go ahead and go to the next slide. And I'll let today's moderator, Rachel, go ahead and introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rachel Gordon. I'm going to moderate today's student panel. We're so excited to have these panelists with us here today. I am the Director of Enrollment Management here at ISEP Study Abroad. I myself studied abroad in Spain, and then I worked as in-country staff for a study abroad program at Argentina. And now I'm here at ISEP. So I'm glad to be here with you all today. Great. And now we're going to go ahead and introduce our panelists. We have Alina, who is from the United States and studying in the United Kingdom. We have Christiana, who is from Bulgaria and studying in the United Arab Emirates. Kira is from the US and is currently studying in Spain. Sophia is also from the US and is currently studying in France. And Emily is from the United Kingdom and is currently studying in South Korea. So welcome to our panelists. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we get started, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping. We have also Grace Glancy here from ISEP, who is going to be managing our chat and our Q&A. So if you have questions you want to ask our panelists, you can go ahead and put them in the Q&A, and Grace will make sure that they get answered. All right, with that, we're going to get it started. You can start entering your questions into the Q&A, but I'm going to start with the first question for our panelists. And that is, can you tell us a little bit about your arrival experience? What was it like the first few days when you arrived at your host site? And maybe I'll start with Sophia.
Hi, everybody. So, well, I know my experience was a little bit different to like some of my current partners here, but my experience was absolutely great. I had Lucy de Cavallo. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her name, but she was actually the one who kind of set me up, like sent me the information for the train tickets and all the schedules for me to get safely to like Lille, because I arrived in Paris. And then I had one of the ISEP members representations here. His name is Nasser, and he picked me up from the station and brought me all the way to my residence and like helped me through the cruise program, the cruise process. I like everything that had to do with like the insurance of the place. Everything was absolutely very like seamlessly, very easy, and I really did not have a lot of problems. Some of my peers did had a little bit more of a struggle, but I would say that the main reason for that is like lack of information or like lack of like communication towards your advisors. So if you guys could like actually like talk to the people that you're going to be studying with, like talk to your advisors, like the representatives, everybody, talk to everybody, and I will assure you that it's going to be a really easy transition and a very easy process.
Awesome. Emily, do you want to share a little bit about your arrival experience?
Yes, so to be completely honest, the start of my arrival was a little bit rocky. I had to find off-campus housing, which was fine. But unfortunately, just before leaving, my house cancelled on me. They showed a
Mm,
few red flags, such as not showing a contract, not allowing for a house viewing, and wanting a full year's rent upfront in cash. But
wow.
thankfully, I was able to contact ISEP and they were able to provide me guidance to show that this wasn't normal.
Hmm.
So on my way to the airport, I had to find a hotel as we were driving. And thankfully, when I arrived, though, I was able to contact ISEP, my home university, my host university, and everybody was very helpful. I was given a lot of resources. I was able to contact a lot of different student housing, and I was actually recommended to live somewhere in like a international student dorm. Thankfully, I actually think it's worked out for the best because the place where I live has been amazing. I feel like I've met most of my friends from here. So it's actually worked out really well in my favor. So I just wanted to show that like this experience has pushed me to be resilient and to make decisions by myself in a foreign country, which is difficult, but it shows that it can be done. And do not be discouraged if something does go wrong because it's possible to come back and it's actually been the best experience of my life so far. So I'm really glad everything's
Yeah,
worked out well.
that's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like for both of you, sometimes arrival doesn't go exactly as you've planned it, but the important thing is reaching out for help, and ISEP's here to help you. Your host coordinators are here to help you, and we're going to make sure it gets sorted. And just showing that resilience and that tenacity to try and, there's going to be bumps along the road. There might be a few problems along the way. It might not always be the smoothest experience in the planet, but we're always going to make sure that everything gets sorted and that everybody's taken care of, right? Awesome. I love that. Does anybody else want to share? Alina, do you want to share about your arrival experience?
Yeah, hello. Hopefully you can hear me well because I'm outside.
Yeah.
But my experience was a little different, as everybody's been saying probably. But I study in America, but I'm actually from Ukraine. So I flew kind of separately from all the American exchange students, but we all arrived at the same day. And I had to just kind of like meet everybody. Luckily, again, my university, host university, University of Roehampton, they're really nice with transferring. So we have a move-in date and move-in day. Throughout the whole day they were at the airport, so every like hour or so they would have transferred just shuttles to the university. So it's very easy, extremely easy. The only thing was like I arrived to the terminal where no one else arrived because I was flying from Poland, so it was a completely different flight. And I immediately went to the tube, so that was a good experience because I had to switch terminals. So for people who are gonna go to London, tube's going to be a big part of your journey. But it was quite, thankfully everybody was really helpful at the airport, so we just took a shuttle and we all moved in at the same day. So you got to see a lot of like exchange students straight away, just communicate with them. So it's quite nice, quite nice. Have nothing to complain about.
That's fantastic. So my next question, and maybe I'm going to start with Kira on this, is what would you recommend to help students settle into their host country in those first few days and weeks and feel comfortable in their host country?
Um, Well, I was lucky enough to have a dorm ready for me, so I didn't have to deal with any moving hassles like you guys did. But to become accustomed to your new country, I think it's so important to walk around and just see all the local stores, see what people do at different times of the day, find the fun spots. Like the people here in Tarragona, Spain are so nice and so sweet. And so the concierge at the hotels gave me a map of like the fun places to go. So my mom brought me out here so we could go look around and see. So I learned very early on where the cool places were to go and where to meet cool locals. And I think that that's very important because now I go there with my friends all the time. And yeah, so just take in everything that you can. Just experience the differences between here and your home country.
That's awesome. Thank you. What about you, Christiana? Any advice for how students could help get settled into their host country in the first few days or weeks of their program?
Yeah, so I'm also in dorms, so I did not have to like move apartments.
Mhm.
Um, but when I arrived, because there was no one else from my region, so we were all in different flights, just what I needed to do is unpack everything the same night, even though it was late. I just decided that if I start postponing now, I will postpone other things as well. And I would say something that maybe I needed to hear at the beginning, that you just need to acknowledge that it might be harder, but that's just at the beginning because everyone is different in social situations. Some of us are more sociable, some of us are more slow burners, and that's totally fine. We met all the exchange students the first week because we had an orientation. I'm assuming everyone has an orientation. So if you don't form connections or friendships on the first day, that's totally fine. You have a couple of months and everything is going to be okay.
Awesome. Does anybody else want to jump in? Emily, Sophia, Alina, with any advice for how to settle into your host countries those first few days?
I don't know if Alina wants to go. Hi, Alina, by the way. We're in the same university. Well, one of the biggest things is like, since I got to be actually like, I actually was able to meet everybody from my program on the first day because we had the worksheet that we were sent for like doing like a group chat. So like we pretty much all had contact with each other prior to our arrival. It was really easy to just like go around, talk to people, like make friends really easily. So like pretty much I would say like sometimes if that's not your case, like be aware of the emails that you get sent from ISEP just in case. But like also just like try to take in your surroundings, try to go around, do like a Google Map search as to like what's the things that are near, like grocery shopping, things like places where you can go buy your stuff from, like I don't know, IKEA, because we have IKEA here. We have like a lot of like different sections to buy things for your room. So like try to like do like your research as to like how close all those things are.
Awesome. Grace, it looks like we're starting to get a lot of questions in the chat. Do you want to jump in with some of the questions from the Q&A?
Yeah, absolutely. We are getting some really great questions. So thank you everyone for your questions. The first one I'm going to ask, which we've kind of touched on a little bit, but how did you get to know the people who were going to the same program? And something I'll add before I open up the question is ISEP will send out a connect form in the next few weeks for everyone to start sharing their contact information so you can connect with students that are going to your same host country. But I will open it up to Sophia if you want to go first and talk about how you got connected with students going on your program.
Sure. So I received the contact sheet. So like I got typed in my contact, I typed in all my information. So like when I was like coming here, like before doing any of that, actually I just made the group chat on WhatsApp, which is a lot easier for doing internationally. So like I advise you to do that if you're gonna create a group chat. Um, and like when we arrived here, I felt like I knew everybody, like pretty much, because we were like so much in contact, saying like, "Hey guys, you did this. Like, do you like had like do you choose your classes? Do you did this and this?" So like when we first got here, we were actually just doing meetings. We went out for like having like a little snack, a little drink. It was like actually very much amazing. So it was so easy to contact with people. So as soon as you receive that, please type in your information and make sure that you're actually in contact from people from your program. It makes the transition so much easier and a lot more enjoyable. Like I feel like the people that I've met here, they're gonna be friends with me for like a very like long process of time. And I'm very grateful that I met them all. So
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, it's definitely great when you first arrive to have that sense of community. Does anyone else have anything to share about getting connected before or how you got connected to other students right when you arrived?
I would say I'm just gonna jump in because I also used a little like Excel sheet we got, and I ended up actually being neighbors with one of the girls who went through ISEP as well. So we live very close, and we basically see each other on very often, like during classes. And I'm studying business and music, and she studies business and dance, so it's like kind of compatible in a sense. But there's at Roehampton we have like 230, they said, exchange students, so a lot of them, and ISEP would be just a small part of that, but they also do like a good job of like international students mingling. It's a very international university. There is a lot of people from America as well, from all sorts of places, and just honestly talking, because usually exchange students move in earlier, so it allows you to, like Sophie said, just kind of like hang out with them outside of classes, before classes. You have some time to just settle down and move in properly and get just contact with everybody, so it shouldn't be that much of a struggle, especially if you know some people beforehand, so it was quite smooth.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Another question we have in the chat is, how do you deal with homesickness? So whoever wants to jump in first.
I can talk about this one. So whenever I got here, there wasn't many other Irish or Northern Irish people here. But I did find one girl, which was really nice to have someone from home. And then together we actually found an Irish bar. And there we were able to get some Irish pub grub, and it felt nice to get a bit of home, a nice warm meal from home. Other than that, I just stay in contact with friends and family through FaceTime and voice messages, because the time difference is a bit of a struggle sometimes. So voice messages come in very handy, but that's mainly how I've dealt with it so far.
Awesome. Anyone else?
I can jump in with this
Yeah.
one too. Um, as Alina, I'm also an international student. I study in the US, but I'm from Chile, like originally. So homesickness is something that you have to deal a lot with. But one of the things that has made it really easy here is that I feel like I have like really much of a support system. But plus the support system is like also the fact that like you have to like start learning a little bit like how to be on your own. Like maybe just like before like departing to your host university, just like try to like do walks around, try to do things alone, like try to learn a little bit more about yourself and what makes you feel good. And like so like you're like just not depending on people as to when to feel like a little bit homesick. Talk to your family. Like every time that I feel like a little bit homesick, I just talk to my mom. Sometimes I cry. It's very like it's an emotion, and it's like that's absolutely valid. You can cry all you want. That's totally healthy, and it's nothing rare to miss your home. And it's something that you're gonna have to deal with, but it's also like a very rewarding opportunity to get to know yourself. So if you have like your support system, build up your support system first of all, and then try to talk to your family a lot, try to get to know yourself a lot before departing and while you're in your host country. So that's my best advice.
I love that. I think it's definitely true that there is an adjustment period, but it's super exciting to see your own personal growth from the very beginning to when your program ends. So thank you so much for talking about that, Sophia. Let's see, other questions. Another one we have in the chat is, how did you balance your schoolwork, your academics, because you are on study abroad, with exploring the country and meeting new people?
I can answer this one. Well, I mean, what I would try and do is to not to be a bad student, but take kind of the minimum amount of classes that you need to be a full-time student. So like, for instance, I'm taking 4 classes instead of 5 so that I have that time, and I just scheduled on purpose to make sure that I had lots of time, like all day Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday free so that I go to Barcelona with my friends almost every weekend, and you can take trains wherever and go on as many trips as you want because you only have a few days of study, and then you have all that time where you can choose to go on trips for maybe one day and then another day you can study. So it's personal, but just try and have a lot of weekend days, as many as you can if you want to travel.
Yeah, it's a balancing act for sure. Anyone else want to talk about their experience balancing
Yeah, I
schoolwork and
can share a little bit. I
yeah.
think for me it's kind of the opposite side of the spectrum, because my thought process that was that I want to take harder classes here and as many classes as I can here because of the pass fail system, and I'm still like trying to get the max of the class. However, it was interesting to take classes from my majors that I need to graduate with, not just electives, and study them in another university. And in here in the UAE, specifically in Sharjah, the weekend is 3 days, so we don't have classes on Fridays. So it's still, because we're not like regular students, we're just here for either one semester or 1 year. We're not part of the boards of any clubs, or curriculars are way less than in at least for me in my home university. So I actually have a lot more time to explore around, to travel, and this does not affect any of the classes I have or the credits I'm taking.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Another question we have in the chat is about packing. So what they should bring, not bring. I think I'll change it to, what would your general advice be when preparing and packing for your study abroad program?
I have an answer for this one. Well, for general advice, just bring everything that you would normally want to use. But one thing that you definitely should bring is a small backpack that can fit a jacket, water, your wallet. Because I swear, I've gone on so many weekend trips where I have my crossbody shoulder bag or my big backpack, and I can't like, find a happy medium. So bring a little backpack is one thing that you should have.
Yeah, I definitely echo that one. Anyone else?
Just I agree with that for sure. Same thing, absolutely. But also because going to London, I didn't know what to expect. I've never been here before, and it's quite like it does rain a lot. Spoiler alert, like it does rain a lot. So the advice I got was just having a lot of layers, and I think it's pretty universal to use because when you have a lot of layers to layer, basically, of clothes, it doesn't matter what weather it is necessarily, because it's like fall, winter season, spring, like it kind of gets warmer, but it's also pretty cold. So just having like clothes that you can layer and good shoes to walk around, because you're probably going to explore a lot and just walk, like just comfortable shoes. So that's, just universal advice, I think.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Another question that we have is in terms of learning a new language. So for those of you who are studying in a country where it's not your native language, how has the immersion process helped in learning a new language? Are there noticeable differences with that? I'll open it up to anyone that wants to jump in on that question.
I can actually go. So I'm studying here French. So French is my third language. And I was extremely scared at first when I arrived here. I did feel like I knew enough so I could communicate like my needs to like, I don't know, to anybody who like I would have a question for. But the immersion process was a bit different because when I went to the US, people would talk to me specifically in English, doesn't matter what. Like all the time they're gonna speak to you in English. But as for France, when they notice that you don't really speak French, they start to speak to you in English. So I'm like, no, I don't want that. I want to like actually be like trying to speak French. So my way of like solving up that problem is that right now I'm part of the Model UN Association in the university. So most of the people in there, they speak English, but they decide not to speak English because they're more comfortable with French. So that's my chance for me to like be actually very immersed in the language, and it has significantly made a difference for me. As well as I go into dance class, which is one of my electives. The professor doesn't speak English, sorry. Like the people, like the girls, none of them almost like speak no French, like no English. Oh my gosh. So like it's at first it was kind of weird because I was like, okay, what are these girls saying to me? Apparently they like me, so like they kept talking to me. So but little by little I did like got to understand, and once I calmed down with the first nervousness. But if you're doing like any other country that it's not your native language, I would totally advise taking the language courses, for example, taking in the opportunities that you get to like meet native people and not just like be comfortable in your own language and sharing with the people that speak your own language. And third of all, like we also have like if you're coming to France or whatever, there's also the tandem program, which is an opportunity for people that speak English to like be able to speak to a native like French speaker. So it's a very good opportunity to just like exchange a little bit of the language. And after like 6 weeks, 7 weeks that I've been here already, like I think my French has significantly improved, which makes me so happy. And I'm able to hold like very big conversations and just like do like my model UN kind of thingy like in French, which is kind of crazy to me. It's a lot of technicalities. So yes, that's my best advice for it.
Yeah, it's always cool to see the difference in your language skills from when you arrive to when you leave. Does anyone else want to answer that question on language learning?
I can as well. So I'm currently learning Korean, which is very different from my native language, English. So I've enrolled in the language program in university. Before coming here, I took only 10 weeks of Korean lessons just to get the basics so I could read and write. And then when I got here, I was able to move to level 2 and start learning vocabulary, grammar, and how to form sentences. Thankfully, everybody here is pretty patient. A lot of people speak English as well, so if you are struggling, they will speak English to you. But it's good to build up your confidence and try to practice as much as you can, even if it's just ordering something small in a restaurant or practicing with some of your friends. I find that I've made a lot of Korean friends as well who have been very patient with me, and they help me, they practice, and even sometimes when they're texting me, they'll text in Korean and then text the English translation underneath so I can learn. And I found the immersiveness has definitely helped me, and it's a lot better than when I first got here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. I'll move on just to double check. Is anyone of our panelists in a homestay? Is there anyone who's staying in a homestay currently? No. Okay. So for anyone with questions on homestays, we encourage you to reach out to your student services officer, and they can definitely give you more information on homestays. For our next question, I will ask if, let's see, with the Erasmus Student Network, is there anyone who's done the, yeah, Sophia, is there anyone who's joined the Erasmus Student Network while they've been on program? And if so, could you share your experience?
Yes, we love them. They're like actually my favorite people. There's so many. Kaylee right now, she's in my program. She's also here with me, so that's very funny. But like yes, we actually like there's Instagram pages where you can find like you can type in like Erasmus in Paris or Erasmus in like London or something like that. And it will pop up on Instagram, and that usually takes you to a WhatsApp link that you can join in, see the trips, see whatever they have coming up. And they have like big welcome parties. They have the opportunities to do like the cafe socials, which is really really cool. And we have made so many friends through the Erasmus program. Like it's actually incredible. I have people like that like are from Italy, other people from Germany. Like I've been practicing all the languages that I can with all of them. And it's very nice to like have that experience. Like it really builds up like an international kind of network, and they're so nice. And it's been absolutely one of my favorite like experiences here. Like I love the Erasmus people. I really do.
That makes me so happy to hear. For anyone who doesn't know, if you're studying abroad in Europe, there's an organization that is in most major cities called the Erasmus Student Network. And it's for international students to join and get to know each other. And they do activities, and sometimes they do excursions. So like Sophia was saying, it's a really cool opportunity if it's available to join and get to know everyone in the international student community. Awesome. Rachel G, are there any questions in the chat? I know we've had a lot in the Q&A.
No, we can keep going with the Q&A. They're great questions.
Awesome. So the next question I'm going to ask is, how did you manage to adapt to a different culture and habits than yours? And how was that process of immersing yourself in your host culture?
I would jump in because the person here asking is going to the US, and it's partially study abroad because, as people say for us in Sophie's, like study abroad, because we are international students anyways, and they're just kind of going abroad again. So it's like all over the place. But going to like my experience being from Ukraine and United States helped me immerse into the UK much easier because British people are kind of closer to us as people. They're a little more closed up as European, but Americans tend to be a little more like kind of like cheerful and a lot of like small talk. It was quite an experience to get used to. But honestly, like first off, I feel like for me, what helped was a lot of like TV shows and music. I was already quite involved with the culture. So when you arrived, like, you know, English, like in that case, like the UK would be English. But when you know the cultural context and just kind of be in the media and just, you know relevant new trends maybe also kind of helps when it comes to like music tastes. When there is some certain party or something like this, you have these topics to talk to people about. I think that helps quite a lot. And also just talking to students in advance, because I think most of the universities probably do stuff like chat to students just like now basically, but like your specific university, if you have any questions, there's usually like international student or even student from your country or just like home students who would just talk to you. And if you have any worries about moving in or just any sort of like differences you find from your home culture, I feel like they would probably address that. Like I feel like it's really useful and like just communicating with like student ambassadors and people like that. So I found it just quite nice for myself.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I love that study abroad. That's great. Is there anyone else that would like to chime in?
Yeah, I can say a few words. I feel like the adaptation to the culture you're going to study in the country of is the best part, honestly. In AUS, where I'm currently, students love exchange students. So whenever you have classes with people or you signed up for an event, just look around, ask people. There are so many like people who are from the whole Arab region, but something that I didn't know that they didn't teach me was how different Arab countries from Arab countries are. And it's so fascinating when you start talking to people, how different the Arab languages can be and the different dialects. So whenever you have an opportunity, just sign up for events. Go, for example, to the club fair where there are all the cultures are there. You can just talk to people, just be open and know that you have either a couple of months or a whole year to get to know as much as you can and as many people as you can.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. While we're on that question, I did want to ask everyone, what has your experience been like meeting local students and connecting with your local community?
I can say something about that. Is that well, the local community, the normal residents every day are so kind and welcoming, and they'll help you with anything that you need. Very sweet people. As for Spanish students, they're also so nice and so interested in what you have to say. I will say that sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to become actual friends with them because a lot of people have gone to the same school and been in the same classes for like 4 years. But if if you find the right people, they will be so welcoming. Like even today, I'm going to hang out with a girl from my class who's Spanish, and she's going to teach me all about, her culture here. So you just have to be yourself and just be nice, and they'll be interested. Some people will be interested.
Yeah, and I know a lot of programs have like buddy programs, or I know Sophia mentioned like the language exchanges. So we definitely encourage you to ask your coordinator about those opportunities because that can be a great way to meet local students. Okay, I'm going to ask one more question and then we're going to jump back to our other questions from Rachel G. So last question for now from the Q&A, and we encourage everyone to keep adding to the Q&A, is what was the process like for you all in applying for a visa? It is important to note that this will be different for every single host country, and we encourage you to look at your ICEP host country handbook that will have further guidance on the process. But in general, for everyone, what was your overall process like for the visa? And what would your guidance be in terms of managing that?
I will jump into that one because I bother Kiamini so much with this. I really did. She was really helpful. Like everybody knows, it was actually really helpful through my visa process. I was first of all so confused about what I had to do as like my first step. Applying for Campus France was like good enough. It was very easy. But then the whole like process to like actually go to the consulate, like it was, I don't know, it was really stressful. It was a really stressful time for me. But like I kind of took in like I took it in as like it's part of the process to be anxious, to be stressed about the process. Like no matter what and no matter where you're gonna apply for a visa, it is gonna be kind of stressful because there's a lot of like paperwork that you have to like get. You have to get like some payments done and like you have to like arrange the travel to the embassies and it can be stressful. I know I talked to my mom a lot about this. Like I'm an anxious person, so I was like just like losing a bit of sleep with for it. But like at the end, everything was really fine. Like everything went really well. Everybody was really helpful at the embassy. The BFS Center in New York City was actually very helpful, and the people that attended me were actually really nice. So I think overall, I think I kind of overstimulated myself with like the anxiety that I felt over like my visa either getting accepted or rejected. So my best advice for that would be like not to get too stressed about it. Try to like, I know it's kind of stupid, but like just try not to get too stressed about it because if not, you're just gonna get consumed by it. And like all you need to know is like you have to do it with time and you have to be organized with your papers and everything will be fine.
Organization is key. We love that. Anyone else have any overall guidance for their visa process?
I'll jump in real quick as well. I mean, it's very different from country to country. Like, it definitely depends on what passport you hold and where you need to go. But to add up on what Sophie said, it's like you think about it because information online for me personally was a little misleading. Like, you didn't really know what you need to bring with you. But general rule like study visa and exchange visa is quite easy to get just because you have acceptance to the university. So the embassy always wants you to prove that you're not going to stay there. So this is basically the only like difficulty you may experience, but when you have an acceptance to a program, it's usually going quite smoothly. But just being organized with documents, do it in advance, and like just have an acceptance letter from ICEP or from your university was really helpful. And just communication, because I was already communicating with the university as well as ICEP about that, just in case I need something additional to prove. But again, at the embassy, they're extremely helpful. So even if online something is a little like misleading for me, I just took every document I can possibly take with me, and at the embassy they were extremely just helpful with everything you need because it's the embassy. So genuinely, like, it shouldn't be a problem. It will be fine. So
awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, if anyone has any questions on their visa process, definitely look at that country handbook and reach out to your ICEP student services officer. And now I will hand back to Rachel G.
Yeah, so for our next one, we wanted to ask a little bit about if anybody is involved in any activities outside of class, and how did you connect to those activities? I know some of you are doing Erasmus Student Network, but is anybody else doing any sort of activity outside of academics, and how did you find it?
I'm in a club in uni. So on the first week, there was a club fair, and there's a lot of option here. There was a club for almost everything you can imagine. I joined the SSE club, which is the English Speaking Society. So
Mhm.
it's open to most universities in Seoul. So no matter what university you're traveling to, if you're going to Korea, I would recommend trying to join this club if you can. We do meet at Hanyang University, but there's over 200 students, and it's a mix of 50-50, half Korean and half foreigners. So you can get to know each other. The Korean people join to practice their English, and we have debates, we play games, and it's really good to meet the locals, learn the culture, and then after the meetings every Wednesday, you go for a Korean dinner and some drinks as well. And then apart from that, I also joined the Link program, which is a program to help teach English to North Korean refugees, which is really
Mm,
good. It's educational, and it's a nice way to get to know someone as well, on a one-to-one basis, and um, it's really rewarding teaching English as well. So I would definitely recommend if you're traveling to Korea to apply for that program.
that's awesome. What a great experience. Anybody else?
I can
can.
say something similar. There's the bridge program in here in
Mm,
AUS where English speaking students talk to Arab students who need to learn more English in order to apply for the university. And it's also a very nice way to get to know the other person because they're learning English, but then you can also ask them questions about their language and their dialect in Arabic, which is amazing, especially for the exchange students. We're a
yeah.
couple of us doing the program because we get to learn a lot more for ourselves, especially those who are taking Arabic classes, and like me, who never had any experiences with the language. And it's been nice. And also the different colleges and the university has sent different email communications. There are so many workshops or conferences or events that you can join. So this has been also a very enjoyable way to do something outside of classes. Most of them are, I mean, not most of them, but a lot of them are happening in Dubai as well. There's some in Abu Dhabi. So just be open, go and explore as much as you can because it's gonna be worth it at the end.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna add, I'm so sorry, Sophie. Oh my
You're
God.
fine.
I'm just
You're
gonna say
fine.
like just gonna say
Go
two
on,
words about
Alina.
sports. Yeah, so I joined a tennis society, like a tennis team. It's a bit different from the United States because there's more like varsity. Here it would be more like a society. And I did it before, so that was the thing I wanted to do. And it was really nice again to find your community and people who like sports as like you do or something. I also joined archery. I've never done that before, and I didn't even know they have it. But amazing way to find people because I found people from my country here through like archery and activities like that. And obviously like some sort of like musician society, that's where I'm in as well. There's just a lot of clubs and organizations, and here you have to purchase memberships for some of them, so you're gonna be like mindful of that as well. But sports is just a great way. Honestly, it's been very refreshing. So
That's awesome. Thank you. So my next question is going to be about technology. Are there any apps that you all have found really helpful in your time abroad?
The bank ones.
The bank one.
I don't know, like I don't know if it's like it like actually applies to all Europe, but like there's this one specific app to like get an online banking, which is called Revolut, and it has been the most helpful one to like use here. Like I think I had my account set up before I arrived here, which made it really easy for me to get the stipend. And most of
Mhm.
my friends, they all have Revolut. It's very, very easy to get. So if you ever need that information, please just like go into the website, and like it's very easy to follow, very easy to sign up for it. And you can just like get the actual card like online on your like Apple Wallet if you have iPhone. So like it's very much like you don't even need the physical card. So it's very easy.
Yeah, we've heard that definitely for other students studying in Europe, that if you need to open a bank account to get your stipend, that Revolut is a great app.
I can share my link.
We can let you put your link in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I was gonna say that for students who might not be used to depending on public transport, Google Maps shows you all the bus routes and what
Mhm.
you can just hop on, hop off, you can select the time. So it might seem simple, but Google Maps bus routes is great.
That's awesome.
I agree with Google Maps as well. And also City Mapper has been a life changer. Like for London, a lot of people recommend it. Apparently it's a big thing, but it is really nice and it works in like a lot of big cities. So like Google Maps, in addition to like City Mapper, can help you with like budgeting your travels because public transportation can cost quite a bit and also just time-wise. So
Perfect. Speaking of budgeting, we have a few questions on what advice do you have for budgeting? How much, like, how did you approach budgeting for your time abroad? How much money did you try and decide to bring? Things like that. Are you using a credit card while abroad?
I would say one of the things you can definitely make use of student discounts. I never really thought about it, but then like I just saw a lot of people do it, and like in the UK, that would be like uni days would be a big one. You just go to the store and you ask them like, do you have any student discount? And they might like a lot of stores, a lot of clothing stores, like sportswear. I've seen a lot of people buy things as simple as that. With the application, and it gives you a really good discount, so like stuff like that, just be mindful of that. The same with attractions and museums and public transportation. A lot of there is, again, the UK specifically, there is an Oyster card. It usually doesn't really give you a discount, but if it's a student one, like it will be a little bit of a discount if you're here for a year, let's say. And when it comes to museums and everything, like usually there's just a lot of information online when it's like a free day or some sort of exhibition you can attend. So there's a lot of things you can like try to save on. And the same goes with flights. So again, Europe specifically, there is always Ryanair and Wizz Air, like all of the low costers, and it's been quite helpful. But also do be mindful about the airports, how to get there, because sometimes the flight would be like 40 euro. And then to get to the airport, you would spend much more because it's just so far away from the city. So like you really have to be like, make sure that is the way you want to go about it, but like just using Google Flights and like Skyscanner was really nice. So
That's great.
Okay, I will say I'm actually a very organized person when it comes to budgeting. So, as I was working throughout the summer, I actually made like a little like worksheet where like I knew how much I was like about to spend on my flights, on my visa, and on the stuff that I would need for the first few weeks that I was gonna arrive here, including food and the stuff for the room. So usually like if I can give like maybe just like a little bit of how much it costs around in here, the flight overall was like around 1,000. The visa process, including like the travel to New York City and everything, was around like probably like 500. And how much I spent, I very much overestimated like how much I had to spend here for the room because like I had like a 600 budget, and all those things that I needed pretty much cost like 300 euros. But don't let that just like get out of your plan. Just like be like, oh, let's do crazy spending because like that's not really gonna help you. And I would actually advise more like using the bank account from Europe than doing an actual credit card because it can get a little bit tricky sometimes, and it's just like the transferring of monies is actually like a little bit more crazy. So I just prefer to use my bank here. So I totally do not recommend using that much of a credit card. Like use your actual bank.
Awesome. All right, back to packing. Does anybody have a backpack or suitcase that they would really strongly recommend that's been very helpful?
I have one actually. I have it with me. This one is called it's a Bag Smart, kind of like a backpack, and it's like a suitcase, like a little suitcase, but you can travel with it like on the plane and everything. But like it shrinks a lot, so I can use it for class. Like it actually looks like a classroom one. So I really loved it. Like I did like a brand deal with like this specific brand, and they're they were really kind to send it to me. But that specific one has saved my absolute life. I love it so much. I go with it everywhere. Like I went with it to Paris the other week, and I went with it to like Belgium a lot of times.
That's awesome. All right, last question. What are you most looking forward to in the remainder of your semester abroad? If you'd like to start.
I can start with that one. I am very much looking forward to traveling as much as I can and, taking the trains on weekends and stuff, but also that even though I'm going to be heartbroken when my semester-long friends leave, I'm excited. I'm here for a year. I'm very excited to meet the new group of students who are going to come in next semester and make a whole new group of friends and start all over, I think. So yeah, traveling mostly though.
That's awesome. Anybody else?
I'm actually very looking forward to just like very overall, like just keep making memories with my friends here. They absolutely have been awesome. I think I'm gonna be friends with them for like a very long time. Kaylee's right here. She's become one of my closest friends here. And it has been great to actually make those connections. I travel with them a lot too. So like taking your time, and I'm like very much looking forward to keep traveling, keep like seeing new places. Just like sometimes what I look forward to also is just like go for coffee on Thursdays kind of thingy. So
I can also say similarly, maybe traveling, because interesting fact, when you have the Emirates ID, you can travel to a lot of countries in the region without requiring another type of visa. So that's something exciting. Also, UAE National Day is coming in December, and I feel like it's always interesting to experience the other country's National Day and see how other people celebrate it.
Oh, that's fun. That sounds great. Okay, well, we're gonna wrap it up with that. Sophia, there's a request for you to type in the
yeah.
name and model
Hold,
of your backpack.
yeah, hold on.
Um,
I'm gonna actually search it really, really fast.
yeah. Thank you so much to our panelists for joining us today and sharing all of your stories. This has been fantastic hearing about your experiences. So we really appreciate you being so generous with your time with all of us today. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Amanda.
Yeah, thank you all so much. It was so wonderful hearing about all of your experiences, and thank you to our participants as well for some great questions in the chat. It's a very great meeting for everybody. So, just a little bit more information from ICEP. Here, you can find your student services officers information. You can also find all of our contact information in your ICEP portal. So if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to us. We are always happy to help. You can find our phone numbers and emails in your ICEP portal. And finally, if you want to connect with us on social media, I highly recommend it. You can follow us at ICEP Study Abroad on Instagram and TikTok. And you can also always tag us in your content for an opportunity to be shared on our platforms. So thank you all again for joining us today. It was such a great student panel. And thank you again to all of our panelists. It was really wonderful to hear more about your experiences and all the information that you shared with us.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you all.